oh yes, started by you. Let everyone know that they're being recorded and transcribed. Everyone, you're being recorded and transcribed, so don't say anything too controversial. I'll try to do the same. But that's just so we can give it to people for the benefit of those who can't attend today. I'm Clara. I'm going to tell you quickly what I look like, but I'm down south and my camera's making me look pink, so I actually can't face looking at myself. So I'm just going to wave at you and then really put myself off. Okay. But for the under sixes, who I might not have met before, I'm the team manager for the under sevens, like Rob. And so you guys all know Rob. And the other two people to know are Trin and Sam, both who have roles in the club and can help guide us through what's going to be a busy time coming up for the under sixes and under sevens. So the reason why we set up today is just because we've got 2 events coming up for the under sixes and under sevens together, where we need to know what we're doing, but also where we need to start having our parent volunteers step up to help us out. I think most of the under sevens parents are pretty denned up now on this because we went through it last year, but just to give the under six parents a heads up on what's required. One, we've got the VIP day coming up. So one, we've got the VIP day coming up, and the other thing that we've got is our 4 weeks where we're going to be hosting the games for the under sixes and under sevens at the Inglewood Club. So the parents have to sort of step up to help with getting that all going. So I'll just take you through. Can you guys all see my slideshow?
Yep.
This is actually Sam's slideshow from last year, which I've just updated with some new photos and things. So I'm not going to be able to get it working now. There you go. Okay. So VIP Day is on the 17th of July. So that's, is it next Saturday? Not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. So it's coming up quickly. So just to let you know what it is, so it's not mysterious. The under sixes and under sevens kids are the VIPs. And they get to go down to the, if they want to, they get to go down to the Inglewood first game, which is played on a Saturday, and they get to be VIPs for the day. They get to, we set up a little table for them where they can have goodies and they feel important. They get a chat from one of the first team players, a Q&A. So there's a photo of the Q&A with the first team player. Then they get to escort the first team players out onto the pitch at the beginning of their game, and then they can watch the game. And then at halftime, we'll have some sort of activity for them, trying to score goals or trying to do penalties or whatever game. We just basically run it as the parents, but some sort of game, and then they can leave. So it's optional for the kids. You have to RSVP so as we know how many goodie bags to set up, etc. But it is optional for the kids to do that. And I'll just show you. So just so if you've got a sense of the day, the kids all come in their Inglewood outfits. These guys are looking a bit scrappy, probably because it's my son there, looking really scrappy. But you don't wear your soccer boots, but other than that, you wear your uniform. And then I'll just sort of show you. So there you go. So they get a set up little table, and they have goodie bags and things like that. And then they stand where the players run out and line up there. These guys are looking a bit better. They're obviously not our year. And then, then they run out with the first team players and get the thrill of running onto that. And then at halftime, there'll be some games that we'll try, we'll get some of the parents to organize, and the president often will be in goals and let people try and kick penalties at him, things like that. So that's the VIP day. Why it's also important for us, because it's not that's just the fun part, is also that it's the day that's allocated for the under 6 and under 7 parents to volunteer at the club to help out the club with other roles that need to be done for the home game fixture for the first team. So they shift throughout the day where we have to do tickets and parking coming into the club. Someone has to volunteer for game marshal. We also need parent volunteers to help set up and pack down the VIP day. So every single year group has an allocated day that they do this throughout the season. So this is our allocated day, and we get to do it together as under sixes and under sevens. So we've got a lot of parents to fill that. And the reason why we get to do it together rather than have to fill our own day is just because the club recognises that the under sixes and under sevens parents also have to do quite a lot of volunteering to get the clusters hosting going as well. So that's why we've got less of a commitment than the other parents. So I think both Rob and I did distribute a sign-up genie or whatever they call it, where you can sign up for the roles that need to be filled. And I've also already gone through and allocated and voluntold a few parents who I know are already going to the VIP day. So what I've done is allocated them to do some volunteering on the VIP day rather than do it at the cluster. And so I hope that everyone knows, but the club expects, around 3 hours of volunteering time per child, per player, per season for each from the parents. And so, have I done the wrong day? Isn't it 19th of July? Have I done it the wrong day? I'll look that up just now. I might have written wrong day down. It's next Saturday, whenever it is. Not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. So, yeah, so going back to what's expected, it's 3 hours of volunteering per child. And so I've already gone through with the under sevens and basically worked out sort of what seems fair between all the roles that need to be done on the VIP day and also all the roles that need to be done in clustering, and kind of allocated parents across those. Coaches, already giving a fair bit of time. So only if we need to, do we usually ask them to fill in as well. And there are some parents who coach other teams, and so we take that into account. But and I understand that Rob will go ahead and do the same for the under sixes, allocate people across the volunteer roles. So for the VIP day, can you guys see this? Is this big enough? You can sort of see that a few people have already sort of put their hand up to do that, and we're quite well covered. Sort of the under sevens have covered sort of half of the shifts. The two shifts that we really need is someone to do tickets and parking at 3:30, which actually counts for a whole hour of volunteering. So that's actually a good shift. I don't know why no one's taken that. And probably it would be good to have someone else help with the setup of the VIP day. If we don't have the sort of second volunteer for the other tickets and parking, it might not be the end of the world. So that's that. And maybe we can talk at the end a little bit about how we're going to sort of make sure how Rob and the under sixes want to cover the sort of remainder of the shift. But I'll talk about the clusters hosting, and we can circle back to that at the end.
Yeah.
So that's the VIP day. Does anyone? Oh, sorry, Rob. Did you want to say something?
So just explain what the role is. So tickets and parking. Do you just stand at the entrance? Basically?
Yes. That's right. You just stand at the entrance. Paul's done it a few times, and he's up first at 11 a.m. So Paul, do you want to wave them so they can see that it says Clayton D, but that's Paul. Paul's the dad.
And it's quite painless. It's quite painless, everyone. So it's nothing to.
Because I can rope in a few people for that. That's fine. And then the setup is what's that? Like, how would the person who's volunteering know who to see on the day and where to go?
Yeah. So I've already so Michelle, who's on here, who's Sophie's mum, she's already signed up for that, and I'll send there's sort of quite detailed instructions for how to sort of set it up, which I've already circulated to Michelle. So whoever puts their hand up for setting up the VIP day, I'll circulate that. I didn't want to kind of bore everyone with how to do that. But basically it's just, there's a box full of Yeah, there'll be sweets, and you just set it up so that it looks nice and fun for the kids. And in terms of the other things, like the parents who are actually attending with their kids, just just guide them through the day. It's nothing. It's for the kids. The actual VIP day is for the kids. That side of it is just fun,
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, and the tickets and parking, someone like Ant, the club president, will set up the first people, and then the first people will just basically hand over to the next people, tell them what to do. Yeah. You just turn up at the gate effectively.
Yep.
Anyone else have any?
I'm sure we can find people for those roles. That's fine.
Yeah. So does anyone else have any questions about that? Oh, and I think Tom has set up for the game master, which I actually didn't even know that we were meant to do that, but Loic's dad, Tom, has signed up for that, and I think he used to play maybe for Inglewood or something, so I'm sure he knows what to do, but there'll be someone there who will kind of also just help you with that. Have you ever done game marshal, Sam? I didn't even know we were meant to do that.
Mostly just throwing the ball back.
Yes,
and telling kids not to go too close to the field.
Yes, yeah. So that's the VIP day, which is coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Then the sort of more substantive thing that we have to do is the hosting of the clusters for the week that the games are going to be played at Inglewood. So obviously all the clubs have already taken turns, so you can sort of see what it looks like. This is not actually at the Inglewood grounds, this photo. Sorry, guys, I didn't have one. Sam's not going to be happy about that. I know that I've got the wrong photo. I think that's Bassendean, isn't it? But anyway, those are the 4 weeks where basically everything's going to be at Inglewood, at our grounds. And so we'll have to be the ones who sort of set that all up. So, so in terms of what we have to do, we have to set up the pitches. We have to man the canteen and the barbecue, and then we have to tidy up at the end. So it sounds like a lot, but it's not really that bad. Where we play is, so this is a picture here. So it's actually on the reserve next to the club. So where we would be training, do you see, we would actually be training over, can you see my mouse down here?
Yeah.
Whoops. So it's actually not inside the club. It's on the reserve next to the club. And there's toilets. I don't know if anyone's seen. There's a car parking down where the A is. And then there's toilets and sort of a building over here. And that's where we set up the canteen. Then we set up the pitches for the clusters down at the bottom there. And then you'll see there's the little gate that comes through to, this is where the balls and everything are, where the equipment shed is. And then the big gate up here goes to the clubhouse. So this is where we sort of set up and do the clusters.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll just go through a bit of what we have to do. So what we've decided to do is have the under sixes play first and the under sevens play second. But the good news is that the clubs agreed to have the under sixes kick off at 8:30, so a little bit later, and the under sevens kick off at 9:30. So how it'll work is that because the under sixes play first, they'll open up the gates and they'll set up the pitches and everything. And the under sevens, who won't be playing for another hour, they'll take responsibility for doing the canteen and the barbecue in the first kind of hour. So while the under sixes will set up, the parents, and then the under sixes will play, and all the under six parents can watch their children play, while the under seven parents man the canteen and do the barbecue, and then they'll switch, and the under sixes will do the canteen and clean up the canteen while the under sevens do their play, and then the under sevens will pack up after they've played. So that's how we sort of organize it. So I know there's a lot of parents who've got kids in both under sixes and under sevens, so that makes it a bit harder. But for the majority of people, they'll be able to still watch their kids play, etc. So for the parents who are allocated to the opening up the gates, etc., they'll have to open up the main gate, which is the gate that we're used to coming through. Also, the little gate which goes through to the where the equipment shed is, and also this big gate which goes across to the clubhouse. We haven't put the codes in, and Sam can talk about this more, but whoever's allocated to the sort of setup, we'll give them the details of how they are going to, what codes, etc., they need to unlock, etc. But just for security purposes, we weren't going to sort of share them all here. And I understand there used to be some sort of codes and also some keys, but I understand from Sam now that it's pretty much all going to be codes soon, which will make it a lot easier.
So I'm getting rid of the keys. Mikhail did that tonight on the big gate, so we just have...
Oh, fantastic.
So we won't have to... Whoever gets here, you don't have to go and find keys. There'll be a number lock on every lock. It'll be the same. It'll be really easy. As opposed to last year's flowchart of pain and suffering that's on screen at the moment.
Yeah. So basically, whoever is allocated to do the setup in the morning will have to arrive and do all of the unlocking, and we'll make sure that they get the codes beforehand. The under sevens will have to go and start setting up the canteen. That will, I'm sure, still be a key. And I will arrange that. And I'll certainly be there the first week. And to be honest, I'll probably just come and help, open up and get everyone going in the canteen anyway. So can you guys sort of see where the canteen is, where the parking is, the equipment shed, the big gates? Does that all make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So I think we only have 6 pitches this year, which is quite little. I think probably be a maximum of 6, but maybe up to 8. But this is basically where the pitches will be set up. And as I understand it, the club will mark out the pitches, so we won't have to just have cones. They'll actually do like lines on the pitches, so that makes it a lot easier. We don't have to get the measuring tape measure out. Okay, so that's where they'll be. So what the parents who are doing the setup is, after they've opened up, they'll have to go get the goals from the equipment set, and there'll be 6 sets of goals because there's 6 pitches, so we'll need 12 goals. And we might have enough of the good goals for that. We won't have to use too many of the blue folding goals, hopefully. So do you guys know what I mean by the good goals? I'll put them back. Let's have a look at these goals down here. Do you see these goals like that? Might have to be able to use mostly those. If they're not enough, then we'll have to use the sort of folding goals, which are not quite as good. And there's a trolley there, so you can use the trolley to wheel out the goals through the little thing down to the pitches, set up the goals on either side, get 6 of the best balls, make sure that they're labeled, make sure they're pumped up if they need to be. Get also these nice pitch signs, which should be hanging up in the equipment shed, and make sure that each of the pitches is clearly labeled, so all of the kids know where to go. Have a look around and make sure that there's no dog holes or dog poo, etc., and just make it look nice and beautiful, ready for playing. So not too difficult. At the end of the game, you do the reverse, and the under sevens will basically be making sure we get the balls as soon as possible, putting everything back in, getting the goals and balls and returning them to the shed so they don't get signed, putting the pitch signs back on the wall or somewhere safe where they won't get lost the next week. And that should be fine. If we have to use those horrible goals, the sort of folding goals, we might have to get 10 pegs to make sure that they stay in the ground. And if that's the case, whoever's packing up, just make sure you get those. So again, pretty easy, but just helping with that. So that's the packing up and the pitches. The canteen and barbecue is not that difficult either, I promise. all we do is a sausage sizzle, bacon, egg rolls, juices, soft drinks, and lollies. We don't have to do hot drinks or anything. We're going to have a coffee van, hopefully. Everything should be waiting for you in the canteen. I'll be there. There'll be a price list. There'll be an FPOS machine. There'll be cash, or the stock will be there. You might want to have the fixtures for the under 6s and 7s on your phone in case you get asked which fixtures which. But other than that, everything should be there waiting for you. And so there'll be some people who do the canteen. They just take the payments, they just serve, give buns, etc., and then you'll have a barbecue out the front, the same as you've seen at all of the other clubs, serving and cooking sausages, etc. Some nice photos so you can see what it looks like. Again, just so you see where we are. So this is where it says clusters. So those are where the pitches will be. We'll have the barbecue out the front. There's toilets out the back where the pink crosses. The canteen you access at the back, but it's open. There's like you open up a a flap at the front, and so there's like a serving window. And there's also a storeroom where this green arrow is, and so that's where the barbecue and tables etc. will be. And we'll get the keys to all of this. I'll give the keys to bring the keys, or give the keys to whoever's setting up in the morning. And so I've gone through in detail, but it's not rocket science. Just go in, open the canteen, turn on the lights, open the window, so you can actually serve. There's a pie warmer there that you can turn on. The barbecue people just get the barbecue out and a special table, set it up, set up self-serve sauces, make sure there's a price list, fire up the barbecue. It sounds complicated, but actually if you get there, just think about it as if you're hosting a little barbecue yourself. And I'll definitely come and help. And I've tried to organize the allocations so there's sort of someone who's done it before is then on the next week. So it's not sort of new to everyone every week. So we'll do bacon and egg rolls. Last year, my husband did them mostly, and he just pre-made them at the beginning of the shift, and then just put them in the pie warmer and served them. And then there's sausage sizzle. And the way that we found worked best was basically to get the canteen to have the buns, sell the buns, and then get the the customer takes the bun out, puts the sausage in, uses there's sauces set up. They can just help themselves self-serve. So that's pretty easy. And then just pack down is just basically cleaning, returning the barbecue, etc. Now, I'll print off all of these instructions so they're there in the canteen on the day so you don't have to remember, but just so you effectively remember what needs to be done. There's a couple of other easier kind of roles. One is we need someone to do timekeeper. So that's basically making sure that they sound the horn for the 20-minute game. And also to be the medic, which basically just means have the medical kit and be at the ready in case there's an injury, but I don't think that happens very often. So the air horn, the air horn and the medical kit will be at the canteen so you can pick it up from there. So I've already circulated for the under 7s allocations for their roles, so for each week. So you'll see over here for, I've got Dylan's parents who I've got as the medic and the timekeeper. And packed down, I've got Elliot, Luke, and Jude's parents. And then for the canteen, for our shifts, I've got myself, Casper, Aiden, Ruben, and oh yes, my husband's going to he'll do the barbecue for the first day, and Arlo. So we're sort of set up there. And so Rob will liaise with under 6s to effectively allocate under 6 parents to their slots that they'll have to do for each of the weeks. So hopefully all of the under 7s have already seen these. I've circulated them on a spreadsheet. So there's one for each week. And then the under 6s will have to fill in their slots. Now, what I could really ask is that even if your kids don't end up coming for the day that you're allocated if they're sick or something, please can you arrange for your shift to be covered in some way? Either just turn up and do the shift yourself, or see if you can swap with another parent or get someone else to cover for you. Because if you don't and you contact me, I'm then put in the difficult situation of trying to get another parent to do double the volunteering, or I can't necessarily just cover it myself because I'm there trying to coordinate it as well. So so please just be conscious that if you're not doing it, we've got a problem. So I know it's a bit of a pain, but it's only, one or, 2 or 3 shifts or 3 hours altogether for the parents. Okay, did anyone have any questions about that?
Yeah, so on the spreadsheet, you refer to the children's names. Yep.
I did just because it's easier, but you could refer to the parents as well.
And then I had another question. We probably should stay on this clusters hosting because that's the harder one. But I had a question on the VIP. When I set up the on the schedule, I had 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. But that 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is only the volunteering of the gate.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
yeah.
So change the invite to 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and that's the period, or should I maybe 1 p.m.
Yeah, maybe? I think that's right. So I'll just go back. Yeah, I did the same, but that's really just a volunteering, and actually the time that the kids have to be there is 2 p.m. Yeah, 2 p.m. to about 3:45 for the kids.
Yeah. So I might put it for 1:30 p.m. for example.
Yeah, that's right. And even for the volunteers, I think the first volunteer is 11, which will be Paul and Max's parents.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, I have a question.
Hiya.
Hi, sorry. This is Roman's mum, Marissa. I was just looking at the role of the timekeeper medic. Can you maybe go into that with a bit more detail? And do you have to be first aid trained to do that role?
So with the timekeeper, all you have to do is basically time the games. You've got an air horn.
Yep.
And you make sure you have worked out the beginning of the game, the end of the game. Obviously there's 2 games. There's, 2 20-minute games with a 5-minute break in between. And so you just basically sound the horn.
Right, and you don't need to be first aid trained to be in charge of the medical kit.
I think it would be good if there was someone who was medically trained, but no, I think it's just having the medical kits on standby. I'm sure if someone actually gets hurt, there'll be someone who has medical training of some sort somewhere on the ground who'll run and help. Yeah.
Anthony and I are actually first aid trained, and we're first responders as well. So we're happy to put our hand up for that.
Yeah. Well, okay, great. We'll talk to Rob about that. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marissa.
No worries.
Has anyone else got any other questions?
So that spreadsheet, sorry, Clara, that spreadsheet, how did you circulate that? Was that emails or how?
I've emailed it to you, I think, but I actually I've emailed it to you, but I just circulated this to the parents on the under 7s by just basically sharing it on Heya. So it's a little bit tricky. So hopefully the under 7s parents have all worked out how to look at an Excel spreadsheet in Heya, but you just kind of pick through. Or just because you're there and
you didn't PDF it, or can you edit it on Heya, or how do you?
No, so I just allocated parents 2 shifts.
Yeah.
To just basically, I looked at what the parents had put down when they first registered as their preferred preferences. I looked at what they had, people who had already volunteered for the VIP day through that, or who were already doing some other role within the club. And so I basically just did a sort of spreadsheet myself, which I didn't share, but basically was just brought all the parents up to their 3 hours of volunteer time. And so, and then I just allocated parents randomly after that, basically. I tried to sort of do it. So, for example, I did myself on the first week, and then Aiden, I think, on that week. Oops, where was it? I put myself to the last week as well. Yeah. So that's week 4. Let's have a look there. Yeah. So then I just tried to do some Ruben's going to be 2 weeks in a row. So it's not, so basically there's someone who's already done it before doing each role. So it's not kind of fresh each week. But yeah, I think anyway, as long as it works. And I did also ask the under 7s parents to nominate beforehand whether they had any days that they were unavailable of those 4 weeks. And so I avoided that. And then there's been 1 or 2 parents who have afterwards had problems, and what they've just done is basically just organised to switch with someone else and told me what they've then done, and I've just amended the spreadsheet.
Yeah. I'll probably start reaching out to individuals and the team and try and populate this next week or so.
The main thing is just with the VIP. I mean, if parents want to, if the under 6 parents want to self-select for one of the VIP day roles, then I think Rob has already circulated the
that one I have.
Sign up Genie. Yeah, exactly. So if you go on there, you can self-select for that, and then Rob will basically reduce, see that you've already volunteered an hour or 2 hours and give you 1 less role for clusters.
Yeah, and then the last question I've got is just on the working out who plays who on the schedule. So are you going to do that for 7s and I do it for 6s? You know how the team manager sends out an email and they cover both 6 and 7s?
Yeah. Look, I think either of us can do it. I'm happy to do it. Or you can do it. And I think last year Sam and I did it, that Sam took that and I organised the canteen, the sort of all the food for the canteen. So we can do it that way. We can have a chat, Rob, and see how you want to do it. But
I'd probably rather do the team stuff and you do the canteen if that's all right. Yeah. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Yeah. I've already spoken to the Donna, who's the so I'm sort of up with that because I did it last year. But Donna, the bar manager, will help us with all of that as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Otherwise, Clara, am I good to say a couple of things?
Yeah, go for it, Sam.
So under 6s parents know me. I'm Sam. I manage clusters for the last couple of seasons, and I'm currently coaching under 6s with my daughter, Ava. I asked Clara if I can say a few words at the end. She doesn't know what I'm going to say. Bear with me as I go on a little bit of a rambling story, but over the course of the year, especially the under 6 parents, you'll have heard me say to the kids, we never walk alone. And I wanted to explain a little bit about why I say that. You'll Never Walk Alone is the anthem sung by Liverpool fans, and I'm not a Liverpool fan. I've never watched a Liverpool game. I know as much about European football as Ted Lasso does. But there's one story that really gripped me. In April of 2022, Cristiano Ronaldo, who's Manchester United's famous number 7, he became a father again. His wife gave birth to twins, Angel and Bella. Angel died during childbirth. 3 days later, Ronaldo was due to play an away game for Man U against their arch rival Liverpool. After taking the field in the 7th minute of that match, an entire stadium of opposition Liverpool fans erupted into a rendition of You'll Never Walk Alone for Ronaldo in one of the most stirring displays of humanity and solidarity in sport I've ever seen, and I encourage you to look it up. And it's the message that I've been trying to pass on to our kids in under 6s. It's the reason that when Killian got hurt at training today after a hard tackle, the entire team stopped and they came and checked on him and made sure he was okay before we started playing again. It's the reason we wait for the last child who's getting a drink or talking to mum or getting a jumper before we do the 1, 2, 3 Inglewood at the end of a game. It's the reason that all the kids have to pack up their gear, and we have this comedic affair where I insist that 6 5-year-olds work as a team to awkwardly carry a 12-kilo goal 300 metres to the equipment shed. It's to instill teamwork above anything else. And I'm really going to ask the same of all of you, because for the next 6 weeks, they're the busiest and most stressful part of the season, especially for Rob and Clara. They're going to have to manage 5 weeks of volunteering across 80 parents. They'll have to create fixtures every week for 20 matches across 5 different clubs, not knowing if Ashfield is even going to turn up. And then they'll be dealing with rejigging the teams 4 minutes before kickoff because little Johnny is sick and he can't play and there's no subs. So please help them out. Volunteer early. If you don't know, just ask. If you need to swap, you've got Haya. Find yourself a sub. If your kid is sick, please still turn up and put in your shift. And if you see Rob's name or Clara's name penciled into any of their sheet, any of the slots on the volunteer sheets, that's your cue to step in and say, hey, Clara, you've done enough. Let me take that shift. Please don't make Rob and Clara walk alone. Thanks very much.
Oh, that's nice, Sam. Thank you.
Yes, Sam.
For us. It is a lot of work, but one thing I will say, and which is quite nice that we're doing it at the very end as well, is that it is also quite a lot of fun because you really get to know the other parents a little bit more when you do the clusters and when you're doing everything together and doing the barbecuing and the canteen and all of that. So it is really a nice time for us to all come together as a team as well. So actually, in the end, I really enjoyed hosting clusters last year. Once I worked out what I was meant to be doing. So I think it'll be really good. And I'm trying to get a good coffee van.
In the chat, jump in and just say, Sam, what you just said really resonates with me. The noticeable difference that I've seen in my son, who can be sensitive, who can be volatile, who can be like they all are. The change that I've seen in him in 4 months is unrecognisable. So long may it continue. I think it's wonderful. So yeah, definitely we will all chip in and make it a really awesome Inglewood experience for everybody. So yeah, thanks.
Welcome.
Thanks, Bruno. Okay, well, has anyone else got any queries? I'll sign off.
Thanks, Clara.
Okay, thanks all for giving us your time.
Thanks.
Thanks, Clara.
And
Thanks, everyone.
see you all soon.
No worries.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.